Hello, my lovely audience. So, sorry for not uploading any videos, but I have been just trying to get comfortable and cozy in, Florida. And I'll tell you, it's not that bad here. So yeah, after doing this video, I'm going to be, getting ready for tomorrow and all that stuff. So, enough about me. Also, I'm going to say this right now. Shout out to Darkstar. Dude, you're awesome. Thank you for helping me out still. Really mean it. Like, seriously, dude, you're awesome. If you don't know, Darkstar's, me and him are working on, because art is hard to come by on, trying to find fan art that's really good for some of my what ifs, and especially the one that I'm doing, the Gotham what if. Because from what I've realized, that people, majority of the time when I put up like a poll, and I put would you guys like to see this what if? It's always, majority of the time, it's going to be the one that you guys request is always going to be the one that doesn't do well. And it's kind of funny. So yeah, the Metal Gear Solid one is going to be put on hold, and I'm going to have another what if that is going to be coming up after the two updates I got for Anarchy what if, Deku, and also and this Phantom Stranger one. After the Anarchy one, I'm going to be uploading a new what if because the Metal Gear Solid one is flopping. And I'm gonna, if you guys don't want it to flop, just pray that I get about 1K views by next week. If there's no 1K views by next week, then I will not do another what if. But it's gonna be a fun what if. Anyways, so what if Deku was Phantom Stranger Part 2? Let's get on with this. So, Deku is going to be, he's going to be a lot different after, the whole battle. He's shown his presence here, and he is leaving. He immediately says goodbye to his apprentice and All Might and to some of the pro heroes, and leaves like there was no trace, and goes into the future where he sees Deku facing off against a world that is full of Nomus, full of an insane battle that is happening. 100 Nomus are coming after him. He's using Black Whip, Float, and a few other quirks that we have not seen yet against these villains, and he is fighting with all of his, with everything he's got, destroying city blocks with every punch, and he's fighting with everything he has on the line. And he looks out to see Deku. He looks out to see Phantom Stranger Deku watching him, and he freezes for a second, but then immediately gets back into the fight and fights off against the Nomus, and Phantom Stranger cracks a smile, and he decides to leave and, try and think about his life for a bit. And this is when he is gifted I'm going to be gifting him another ability, one ability that's going to be really fun, and that is what a friend of mine, Kyle, has, me and him kind of created a little bit, as in he kind of came up with the name for it, and it was a really good idea of a name. Basically, Cork Blacksmith. Basically, he's able to forge a new quirk and bestow it upon someone, or bestow it upon himself. And he basically immediately gets to work on how he's going to be giving himself or anyone else a quirk. And what he ends up doing is this. Deku immediately takes a break and decides to go to a diner in a universe that hasn't been touched, and honestly has a good balance, as in the future is looking promising and it's very nice. But what he doesn't know is he's going to the world where there is the smartest Deku in the universe without a quirk. And he goes to this Deku, and immediately this Deku strikes up a conversation with him when he sees him enter the diner. And this Deku immediately goes up to him because he knows exactly who he is just by looking at him. He's him from another universe, but that doesn't make sense, so he goes in and talks to him. And when he talks to him, he finds out many things about how the multiverse theory, yes, it is true, but at the same time that he's kind of stuck and doesn't know where to go. What universe should he help the most? And that's when the Sherlock Holmes, I'm I'm not going to say, yeah, I'm going to say it. This is a what if that I'm planning on doing anyways. In the future, Sherlock Holmes, Deku, in a way, yeah, goes up and says, why don't you start to go to the worst case, Deku, the worst possible scenario, the one that's got the most saddest life, and start working from there. And he goes and he takes that advice, and he, after eating his breakfast, he goes out and leaves the diner, paying for the tip and paying for leaving about 500,000 yen on the table for Sherlock Holmes Deku to order whatever he wants. And yeah. So yeah, he also opens up a tab and basically gives out the money to pay for this tab for the rest of his life. And yeah, this diner is wealthy now, pretty much. And yeah, they forever now serve this Deku for whatever he wants, he can have it. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, he goes to a universe, and this universe is a very sad universe. Deku has no quirk. He's bullied. He's basically gone through hell. His mother completely hates him. And, well, actually, no, I wouldn't say she hates him. I say she just gets away from him. She doesn't want to deal with his stuff, like she provides for him and all that. She wants him to become successful, but doesn't want him to become a hero. You know, no. I'm going to say that she cares for him. She's same Inko, but Dad's not there. He left a long time ago, and she provides for the house. The money coming in, that's a lie she made up, and she doesn't know anything about the father. The father just left. And she kind of just works on her own, and Deku gets bullied, beaten every day, and what this universe is this. In this universe, Deku became a villain. He became the most dangerous villain there is and kills thousands, millions. He commits a genocide, and by the time the heroes actually capture him, he's already pretty much ended the world. And yeah, it's bad. So, what does the Phantom Stranger Deku do? He decides to work from the ground. He goes to the Deku in the future and asks him, what made you end up like this? And he says, one bad day that never ended. One bad day when my mom died and where I was bullied countless times for not having a quirk. So he goes, all right. And he walks out. He goes back in time to when Deku was just a kid. And he was just 10 years old, 3 years before his mom was killed. 3 years before that terrible, terrible endless day that ended with him being captured by heroes. So he goes up to Deku, watching him get bullied, and immediately steps in, telling the bullies to back off. Bakugo not listening, and rushes towards him, and him just smacking him with, basically, just smacking him in the face, launching him all the way into a tree, and kind of caving it in a bit. And it looks like he didn't even move an inch. And he kind of just pulls out a cane that just seemingly came out of nowhere and starts walking towards the boys even more slowly, staring down into them, into the fear that is going to basically pierce into their souls. And a mist starts erupting from his body and starts circulating around them. And immediately they run off. They run off. Every single one of them just run off. All these kids that were bullying Deku run off. And Deku gets up and says, thanks for saving me. And he says, that's what heroes do. And immediately Deku doesn't feel any fear from him like the kids did before. He feels more of a warmth. Kind of a warmth that you would get from family or someone close. He feels safe near him. And I'm going to say in this world that All Might encountered Deku early and told him that he can't become a hero without a quirk. And Deku does this. He goes up to him and he tells him, I'm guessing you were bullied because you were quirkless, young boy. And Deku nods, and he quickly starts tearing up because he remembers the words All Might said to him only a few months ago. And Phantom Stranger Deku says, while kneeling down, don't cry. I can make it all better. You must promise me one thing. I can give you what you desire. Just you must stop crying, calm down, and start exercising. Start working out. Start broadening everything. You must start trying to get better at things, trying to improve yourself. I only give it to you then. Within 1 year, I will give you the power that you need to save people, to become a hero, to become a real hero. And he walks off. And Deku, taking this mind, because thinking, what else has he got to lose? He decides to work out. He starts to train for a year. He gets the body he needs, and he gets it even better and faster than in the 10 months of training. He gets it in 9 months. Actually, no, 8 months. No, 7 months. He gets that body. He worked hard at it. He's gotten stronger even after a year. And when Deku comes back, he comes back not a year later. No. Comes back about a year. Exactly a year. An exact time. And he walks up to Deku when he's walking to school. Deku thought it was just a joke, and he hears a voice. Deku turns around and heard that from him, and immediately goes up to him and says, "It's been a year." And and Deku, while leaning on the cane, says, "Yes, it has," and immediately puts his hand on him, bestowing upon a light, bright as all hell, and immediately feeling a warmth surge through his body. Deku immediately feels this power going through him, and then like nothing happened, it's gone. And so is Deku. And Deku goes out through his day normally. Goes out through the day thinking nothing's happened. And that's when he fights Bakugo, when he awakens this quirk and uses its power. And what he awakens is a very strong quirk. We already know what this quirk is. It's basically a much more fun quirk than you would think. It's called hyperthinking. And basically, if you know the hero O'Clock, aka Knuckle Duster, from the My Academia Vigilantes, you would know what the quirk is. Basically, he's able to hyperthink and basically, go beyond his limits. Basically, me on 5 cups of coffee, or how many cups of coffee I had. Basically, he goes ahead and activates it during a test, and immediately all the answers coming to him and more. He thinks about all the things that are happening, how that flies, what trajectory it's going to go to, what exactly it's going to move to, what exactly it's going to be. And he realizes at that moment that his quirk is awakened. He has been given this quirk, and he starts realizing that he's going beyond limits. And before the teacher can say anything, he immediately starts repeating what the teacher was exactly going to say and what he was exactly going to do and everything else. And immediately, everybody's shocked by what's happening, and Deku can't stop himself. And that is when the teacher says, "Izuku Midoriya, have you just awakened your quirk?" And Deku nods, happy, proud. Everyone in the class shocked by what kind of quirk this is. People already, when Deku was sent home early just to go to the quirk doctor to get this quirk and now analyze and find out what type of quirk it is. And immediately, all these kids are coming up with theories about how it's like some kind of predict the future quirk, how it's some insane type of quirk that he's able to use. And all these theories are coming up. And basically what ends up happening here is this. What the quirk actually was basically when it's basically slowing down time for him. That's all it is. But because it slows down time, everything else kind of just calms down for him to think, for him to move, to actually go about what's going to happen. And that's basically just how it awakens. It awakens through him just, right now, he can just slow down time. For when he gets a lot stronger, he's able to go ahead and predict the future, as in predict what people are going to do before they do it. And he can use it until he gets a headache. He can use it for about a minute, which is very, very long time for him. As in, a minute for him is literally an hour. So he's an hour ahead of you. So yeah, Deku starts working out this quirk. He starts using this quirk all the time. And quirk doctors are amazed by how such a strong quirk there is, but All For One already has a quirk that's similar to it, so he doesn't really see the need for having another one. So he just lets him have it. And then comes everything else. Deku doesn't get beaten up because he beats up Bakugo. He knows exactly when the explosion is going to erupt, and he knows exactly how it's going to be because he's been hit by it so many times. So he immediately dodges out of the way, lifts up his hand, pushes pressure onto the elbow, and breaks Bakugo's arm. And immediately, he screams out in pain with his arm bent upward and his hand going downward in a way that just sounds painful. And then this is what ends up happening. Deku thinks he can become a hero. He wants to become a hero. And then that's when it happens. He wonders who this guy is. So he goes up on the internet. He looks up everything there is about this person. And he finds videos of a person who matches his description. Meanwhile, while Deku was, becoming a hero and all that, Phantom Stranger Deku was doing other things. As in, he was he knew that this Deku would look him up and try and find out who he is. And he sees a person in a black and white video come out of the cameras with a smoke coming out of him, and immediately takes down a couple of robbers with the smoke, grabbing them up by their legs and throwing them all over the place. And shows how devastatingly powerful, and how the video just immediately turns into, static. And Deku's amazed by this sheer power, and he looks him up and he finds out that he's actually a vigilante. And that he's not actually a hero, he's a vigilante. And he thinks, what's a vigilante? So he goes on the internet, he finds out all this stuff about vigilantes, and he finds out who they are, what they do. They're heroes without a license. They're people who do good without being a hero. And he looks up all these things about vigilantes, and he sees that they're doing more good than heroes in a way, but they just don't have a license. And he thinks that some of these people probably tried to get the license, but just couldn't. So he went ahead and found a vigilante, he tracked them down, and he asked that important question: why are you a vigilante? And he would say to young Izuku that the UA exams were too hard for him. He couldn't get in. And they told him, you can't get in with the type of quirk you have. And what this guy had was insect wings. And he was told that he could not get into UA because they already had a guy with wings, and he was probably a lot better than them. You can kind of see where I'm going with who it is. And immediately, he was downstruck by this and felt horrible. But he decided to take his wings to where they needed to be and basically become a vigilante. He flies around and basically delivers mail for people. Goes to people to wake them up when they're, to like friends that need to get woken up. And he also helps deliver things for people. He's a courier. And also stops crime by dropping buckets of water on people. Yes. And tomato juice on people. And basically calls the police and tells people where exactly the crimes are happening. He is a vigilante in a way that basically tells the police where the bad guys are. And Deku realizes something, that this person is a very much better of a hero than an actual hero. He's using the police, he's using all these methods, and he's actually doing more of good than harm when he looks at heroes who do property damage and destroy homes just from taking down one villain. And this Deku, then he's thinking about this for a few years, thinking about it for 2 years, and that's when it happens. The great event where his mom would have died, but she doesn't die. Because right when he's home, he sees the robber hold him by the throat and hold a knife to his mother. And that's when it happens. A mist comes in through their home, and it surrounds them. It surrounds them all. And that's when a figure appears from the mist and walks towards them. The robber immediately pulls a gun and shoots the mist, and the mist just disperses. The person disperses into the mist. He's waving his gun around into the flickering lights, and he starts screaming, "Where are you?" And then immediately, all of a sudden, there's multiple figures, and he shoots, and shoots bullets and bullets and more bullets all around the place. And immediately, one ricochets, and it's about to hit Izuku, but he grabs it, and he pulls it towards the villain, and he drops it right in front of him, grabs him by the throat, and throws him out the window, launching him outside, catching him with his mist, and dropping him into a tree. And then he smiles to Izuku, and Izuku looking in awe as he disappears through the night sky, as if he never existed. And people have already been giving this person a name. And this one, they're calling him the Phantom. Some people are calling him a stranger, and the media are starting to call him the Phantom Stranger. He's getting the nickname the Phantom Stranger in this world as well. People have already seen him as the greatest vigilante there is because he's terrifying. He's on the streets more than ever, and then all of a sudden, he's vanished. And Deku's been mesmerized by his skills and power with this type of quirk, and immediately he encounters the Phantom Stranger once more. When he wants to go to UA, but he doesn't feel like it'd be the right place for him. So he confronts the Phantom Stranger and says, "I want to become a hero, but heroes, they don't do anything. You have done more than anything else, sir. You've done amazing work while you've been here. So I would like to ask you if I could become a hero with my kind of quirk." And immediately, Phantom Stranger looks at him, puts his hand on him, and gives him the power that he has been using this entire time, and it's called Mist. He's able to turn himself into mist and basically grab people and throw them around. And he's immediately gifted this power, and immediately what ends up happening here is this. Deku realizes his power by, encountering the Sludge Villain. Sludge Villain tries to attack him, but the mist ability activates and he turns into mist. However, he has to hold his breath just to use it, and he reforms himself and starts actually using his body to actually make the Sludge Villain attack himself. He goes through him, ripping him apart. And Deku's shown his pure skill with this ability already. And over time, he becomes really good at it. Grabbing objects with his arm, being turned into mist. He's become really, really good at doing this. So Deku comes to the realization that he could become a hero or anything with these powers that he's been gifted. And he will never forget the Phantom Stranger. He'll never forget him. And that is when Phantom Stranger Deku goes out, leaves this multiverse for a second, goes back to the Sherlock Holmes Deku, and he says he did something good. And Sherlock Holmes Deku, much older, says, "That's good. It's good to see you again. It's only been, 10 years? And Phantom Stranger Deku just sits down with him, pays for the tab again, and walks off. And what ends up happening here is this. Phantom Stranger goes in the future where he sees articles and more newspapers about a very strange vigilante. A vigilante that is now given... the media wants to gift him a hero's license, and the media sees him as a true hero. A hero who's taken down hero killers, Nomus, everything. And he's a very powerful vigilante. One that is strong and true to the code of being a hero, one who doesn't do property damage, one who restrains the person and prevents them from being able to move and constricts them from doing anything using his misty powers. His vigilante name is the Mist, and everyone is afraid of him. Villains get shivers from hearing about his name. They get goosebumps when the word M-I-S-T is mentioned. If it's a misty day, they're shivering. They're wondering if that's the Mist, because one time he covered the entire city in a mist and took down multiple villains and multiple people down in an instant. The Mist is a legendary name that even the heroes kind of just go, he's taken all of our work. The Mist is the most dangerous vigilante, and the most powerful one at that. He is the most powerful hero who's ever lived. And they're always wondering, how can he always be 100 steps ahead of us? It doesn't make sense. And that's where Deku sees the Phantom Stranger once again and smiles. And he goes up to him and thanks him for everything. And Phantom Stranger just nods, walks into the crowd, and disappears like he's never been there, leaving only a misty smoke in the air. People separating from where it happened, thinking that was the mist. And Deku's smiling and walking off on his own, disappearing. And that is where I'm going to leave it off here. Have a good day and a good night, and peace out.